Hi, my name is Jacqueline Engel, and I am eager to tell you what I think are the major issues plaguing Theater XYZ. So let's get started. After 40 years, Theater XYZ is experiencing both ideological and financial crises. A decade of overspending, charismatic founders, and a board with little active involvement have left the organization wondering how to proceed in the wake of the resignation of the two founding members. Now, while searching for new leadership, it must also reassess its direction and mission and define its way forward. Theater XYZ starts as most theaters do. A handful of dedicated, gung-ho theater people decide to start their own company. Founders David Radner and Emily Kane created a family-like community of artists, actors, and designers. They established a theater company with a solid brand, a large subscriber base, national recognition, and audience and artist loyalty. Their last decade of tenure was plagued with overspending and yearly deficits. Against Radner and Kane's vision, the theater's board, which up to this time had been a rubber stamp, wanted to shift away from new works and do established shows that would fill up the houses. The organization then brings in executive director Trudy Heger in 2009, amid several years of overspending. Radner then leaves, and the company is now on the search for a new artistic director. There are three main issues involved here: Founders Syndrome, Mission Drift, and poor financial management. Stephen Block and Stephen Rosenberg described Founders Syndrome in the Nonprofit Management and Leadership Journal in 2002 as the influential powers and privileges that the founder exercises or that others attribute to the founder. Sometimes it's overt and sometimes unintentional, but it often leads to stagnation and inflexibility and can even lead to the demise of a company. In this case, Radner and Kane's control, combined with a lack of policy for how to deal with their exits, left the company with a loss of identity. Compounding the issues of this tight control, the changing economy and audience tastes made the original mission of producing only new works, which had been successful in the past, now unable to pay the bills. The board's solution was to change the focus of the group altogether to one that featured more established, money-making shows, a decision that was untenable to the founders and proved to be the last straw. Arlene Spencer, writing for Seeking Grant Money Today, indicates that mission drift can create great confusion and possibly undo internal politics among the organization's volunteers and staff. But the truth is that mission drift and founder syndrome are sometimes at odds. Theater XYZ's founders live the mission as they defined it years ago, and they rigidly cling to it. They are then unable to see when it becomes necessary to reassess that mission in a proactive way. At Theater XYZ, the board could see the necessity to change the mission, and the founders could not, which inevitably led to the founders needing to leave. However, the person brought in to head the transition was not effective. Heger alienated key personnel, didn't have the strength to get this overspending under control, and led a group of inexperienced department heads and new personnel who had little budgeting experience, and deficits ballooned to nearly $1 million by 2010. Now let's look at a few options. With the exit of Radner, the company needed to search for a new artistic director. Radner would have liked having its longtime associate director take over, and in truth, this is a viable option. She had relationships with the artists, audience, and designers, and choosing her would likely make for a smooth transition. She'd likely not be as supportive of the board's new direction. The second candidate had lots of experience and had worked in several different mediums and would have a new perspective and ideas. He is unknown to the group and the area, which is both a pro and a con. With a new AD chosen, the board would then need to reassess and possibly rewrite its mission. Now, what to do with Judy Heger? The board must decide to keep her or let her go. Keeping her would make the transition to the new artistic director a little easier, but really there's not much else to recommend her. It may not be her fault. With Radner starting to disconnect, perhaps too many duties were placed on her. Should they remove her, the board should examine the ED's job description and divide duties more logically between the new artistic director and executive director. So here are my recommendations going forward. I believe it would be best for the company to start fresh with candidate B. If she's amenable, candidate A could stay in her current position to maintain her close ties with audience and artists. I would also fire Heger and search for a more qualified executive director. She was a poor financial manager, and her management style caused the loss of several personnel. She was just not a good fit. As the group begins to assemble the plans for its next season, discussions on the mission of the group must occur. If the mission is to be redrafted, then so be it. The new mission should be a guideline for the new AD to begin negotiations with new or established playwrights as determined by this new mission. At the same time, the board should create a distinct succession policy for key board members and staff. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk with you, and I hope that my perspective helps get Theater XYZ back on its feet.